So let's get it, guys. The brand new nerfed rogue HeartSeeker victimized build. So it's taking some massive nerfs, but we got some new toys. We've got the Umbue here. We've also got the Shard Verithal, which actually gives you crazy amounts of damage, up to 300x damage, and it rolls with basic skills and basic attack speed, which is a pretty good stat. So let's go ahead and hop right into a Pit 100. Let's see the performance and let's kind of see what it looks like to see if it is even viable to play. I actually think you may want to actually run instead of Victimize. You can probably get away with like close quarters and just make it actually deal like damage itself. It's a build that I think people will want to play, and you can just play Andariel's. Just looking at the damage over here, and yeah, it's like 25 mil. I mean, the thing is going to make the ability cost a lot more resource, but when you run Inner Sight, well, you're going to be good to go. So you can see the build still seems pretty decent if you were interested in playing Victimize. But I actually think that we can do so much damage on its own that we don't even really need it. Okay, that pop, by the way, was not from Victimize. That pop right there was from the execute mechanic. But I still think that it's playable. I mean, obviously, the damage goes crazy with the build. And what I think is even more interesting, if you wanted to, you can actually make all of your basic skills converted to cold. But like right now we're running elements, but there is a brand new one that we can test out also. Makes all of your basic skills cold imbued. I should just type in cold imbue. This could actually be pretty big. Your basic skills are always cold imbued, and you also deal more damage to chilled or frozen enemies. And the reason why that could be good is, well, you can just run the bonus from the cold imbue, which gives you 40x damage, which is not a bad thing. Now, I don't know if the damage that we're getting is just going to be from the Shard of Verithal and Lucian being the best helmet in the entire game to ever come out. And I'm surprised that it's not an uber unique. But I'm going to see the results here, and then I'm also going to try to test out running close quarters. And the reason why we can instantly run close quarters is, well, it's a pretty easy swap. I mean, this is probably like a 2-minute pit run if I was to like min-max in the optimization for speed and kind of was talking and stuff. But I still think that you can play Victimize in the play style by playing basically Andariel's. I've already done it, and it's the same gear pretty much, because all you're getting is a bunch of lucky hit, right? Lucky hit and attack speed. The only thing you don't get is crit. So what we could do with this is just swap the passive, and then we don't really need to get all the vulnerable damage. This guy's like taking a sweet time to die. But most of the stuff has died like, I'd say really fast, right? I really love that new the totem thing, because it just makes your damage just go crazy. And what I think is even more interesting is, since it adds another target to actually ricochet off of, it actually makes the build, even though we lose out on a lot of the double dipping, you're basically getting a secondary like activation of the skill on the boss that you normally wouldn't get because the totem doesn't exist, right? You see all the little like totem explosions. That's not actually Victimized, that's the totem. It has another like animation as well. But I think this is what I would consider respectable. So if you're interested in playing it, you can play Andariel's. Now, I don't even know if the damage is actually from this, but I figure we're going to go ahead and just try it, and then we're going to look at the results from another build. Although I'm not going to swap that much things. We're just going to swap maybe like a ring or two, and we'll go ahead and kind of see if there's a difference, and it'll be probably more noticeable on the boss versus anything. But let's see what the performance is going to be looking like on the boss for the nerfs. And if you're wondering, does it feel nerfed? Before I played it, and it felt really bad against the bosses, but I didn't know at the time that the bosses were bugged. There's a bug on the bosses at the moment, and if you want to get around the bug, well, you just do this. Let's go to the entrance, and then we just walk back, and then you go, and you just go back, and it should fix it. And let's see what the boss performance looks like over here. Yeah, the bosses are apparently way overtuned. Unlucky we got the Sea Hag, this one I don't really like. And I can tell you for sure that the barrage build is way better. This one required us to even get a stagger. The other one, I can kill it in like 2 seconds. So as far as it goes, it definitely is slower. It's about half the speed as my barrage build. And that one wasn't even min-max either. And this has like way more crazy like multipliers too. So I think what we could do with this build, and I'll go ahead and mention my changes over here that we can do. And it's a really quick swap. So instead of this, we would run close quarters combat. Now, obviously, you would want damage to crowd controlled instead of that vulnerable damage. Now, I actually already have gear for that, so let me go and just swap real quick. All right, so some quick gear swaps. We got about half the amount that you really want for close quarters, but that's fine. I just really wanted to kind of test it out, and this should still give us relatively good numbers. And then on top of that, there's like another buff over here for the tricks of the trade, which makes it so your cutthroat grants marksman skill. So I mean, we're going to be like relatively close in terms of like damage. It should be still pretty decent. So let's go ahead and hop in. Also, we could pop a potion, but I don't remember if we had one active on the last one. I think we might have had this one. I don't remember, but we don't actually need lucky hit anymore. So right now, all we're scaling is specifically the damage crowd controlled. So basically we have 50x more damage, but we lose out on all the victimized explosions. But we're still running the Shard of Verithel. So it's basically the HeartSeeker rogue, because a lot of people want to know, like, is it broken? Like, is it like bad now? And I would say, well, like, you guys saw the results. What did you guys think of that? And now you're going to see the other one, and we'll see what the damage numbers are looking like. Like, is this better? Is the other one better? You guys gotta let me know. I can tell you in terms of like damage-wise, I think this one is doing more numbers. I could feel it. I mean, there's just an execute over there. And the thing that I love so much with the new buffed Shadow Step is like that's the only skill that we need. It's like so good. As long as we just keep that like always on cooldown, like I'm resetting it, it's basically 100% uptime. So as far as it goes, which one do I think is actually better? I would say if you wanted to play Victimize, it was fine, like it was perfectly fine. But since we do have those little like extra totems, it actually makes up for the nerfs a bit, but still probably worse. But the reason why is like you were double dipping in so many different areas, like all the passes were double dipping, which is pretty crazy. But this is still doing pretty good damage, I would say. It's like 25 mil or something like that. And remember, like this is hitting very, very, very fast too. And I'm not even, this is not even using caltrops. It's not even getting like all the damage to register on like the shade totem. I mean, there's a lot more numbers that go in. While you know, Barb can maybe hit for crazy amounts of numbers in one hit. I'd say you do hit pretty fast with this one too, but I would say this is still like what I consider a very, very solid build. But this one, if you're wondering which HeartSeeker build should you play and get ready for, if you really like the same playstyle, I mean, this is the same exact playstyle. It hasn't really changed. You activate, you know, Smoke Grenade in that build as well, and you know, if you didn't want to play Smoke Grenade, you don't have to. It's just very nice. And if you want to get way more damage with crowd controlled, obviously you need to run the Shard of Verithel now, for sure, 100%. But as far as Umbercrux goes, if you don't like the playstyle, I get it. You don't have to play it. I think that the build can be played without it, but I mean, there's no doubt that that is one of the best things in the entire game, though. By the way, it doesn't work with Yen's Blessing. That was something I kind of just learned recently. I figure I'll pass on the knowledge. This is very, 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 very good if it worked with it. And maybe they'll fix it. And if they do fix it with Yen's Blessing and it activates off of it, oh man, it's be even better. I actually wanted to test out the build with the amulet as well. There's a new amulet, and I'll show you guys what that looks like after. But I figured we'll do like a side-by-side comparison. At least from my experience right now, this is better. It's better to play without Victimize. So it is nerfed, but it is playable, at least. And without, though, without the sword, and you know what we could do instead of running rapid? We could make it so every single hit with this is going to be a cold imbue skill. So if you like that, now if you do run that, just as a heads up, it does make the audio sound kind of crazy. I'll show you guys what that looks like in a second. We're running a PS2 gameplay soundtrack in the background right now, obviously, but which is not Diablo sounds. But I'm telling you that the sound for, if you've ever used like the ice, the cold imbue with the rapid fire, like that sound, it just doesn't sound good. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the boss. Let's see the performance on the boss, which is pretty much the most important thing in terms of comparison. I can tell you for sure my barrage build, I like that one a lot more. The way it plays and the amount of projectiles you get, it just goes crazy. But let's go and throw down all the stuff, all the different changes here. Okay, so this one, slower than barrage, but respectable in terms of damage. So I would say, as far as my testing right now, rapid fire and or barrage with the totems, that one, as far as like how it feels and damage wise, that one's number one. And then this one I would say is number two. Not in terms of all rogue builds. I'm just comparing like the ones that we've like been playing. I think Andariel's is still going to be one of the top tier rogue builds though. I'd say Andariel's, and then in this order so far, if you're wondering what are the best rogue builds, because that's kind of tying into what we're doing. I actually think that if I was to run this, the build would be way stronger even. And I was thinking about running, well, we would have to throw in adaptability on our, do we want to test this one out too? You know what? We're extending the video now. Let's just go test it out and see how it feels. Just for like a few seconds over here. And then I'll also show you guys the cold imbue. So what we're going to do is I'm going to swap. We don't really need resistance, right? Okay, it's just one res. If we take the poison, we take the poison. I'm just going to see kind of how it feels and see if it's like better. So we do need adaptability though. That's too big to lose out on. So we're going to remove the rapid. I don't think we really needed more attack speed. In fact, this gives us base attack speed, so it's fine. So let's go ahead and throw on adaptability. And let's see the performance on this, and then I can also show you guys, if you want to run the cold, kind of what that sounds like, because it could be a good build, but you might not like the sound. I didn't really like cold imbue and rapid fire. The sound just, it's not the best sound. Let's kind of see the performance on this, though. Let's go get some buffs out. Okay. Let's see if we're getting like some big numbers. Because this thing is actually pretty dang good too. Gives you crazy crit. But then you're losing out on another like source of like crowd control, which we're already kind of slacking because we're running double uniques already. Which you would lose out on the the tempo mods too, and aspects. But this one seems fine too. I think you could play honestly either. But if you want things to be like perma CC, wow, this actually feels maybe better. From that one. Sometimes though it could just be like the amount of monsters that you get, or like the archetype, like if you get a waller it kind of messes things up, you know. But like this like pretty decent in terms of speed. But let's go test out, and I'm gonna go pause the music so you guys can understand what I'm talking about when you run the everything is cold imbued off of all your basic attacks. You'd also want to swap up your skill tree probably a little bit. So let's go ahead and swap this back, and then we're gonna run because this already has adaptability. So what we would do is we would put in over here the cold imbue, because I thought this was a really cool idea. It's called cold clip, and I don't have a perfect roll one, but it just makes everything cold imbued. So what you could do with this that would be pretty good, and we can remove this actually is actually a really amazing thing, and I never want to take that out. And every single one of my builds is going to have that at max. Let's just remove Siphoning Strikes for now, because everything's going to be frozen, so it'll be a lot easier. So we're just going to put 1 point into each one of these. So now it imbues the weapon with, it's cold imbue. But the bonus that we get is cold imbued skills have a chance to make enemies vulnerable. So that would be saving another aspect, whether if you want to run a Cursed Touch or not. And then you would also save yourself if you, or the ring modifier. Like I think I have one in one of my rings, right? Oh, okay, I had one in another one where it's like lucky hit, chance to make enemies vulnerable, right? So that's what I was running normally on HeartSeeker, because you need vulnerable, because they actually shadow nerfed that thing. It used to increase the duration when you would masterwork, but they said no. But there's also one where you can have a chance to instantly freeze. So if you want more crowd control, that's an option. But you can already get this on your temper mods on your defensive stats. So we have mixed cold imbuement, so it's another 40x damage. So you're getting 40x damage on top of getting another up to 20. So, I mean, that's 60x damage. The more numbers, the better, right? But let's kind of see how this performs. And again, you guys can now hear the sound that I was talking about, which is pretty big deal. And you'll see how it sounds, because it's not as bad though, I would say. But like, you can see that every single shot is cold imbued, which I think is actually pretty cool for the gameplay. And because you get, you know, all your bonuses off of crowd control, right? You're always going to crowd control because you're always going to chill him. And the damage, I mean, it was like 20 mil, so you can see the damage seems to scale up a little bit on this one for sure. So this one actually maybe is one of the better choices. And what I like with it, you don't have to push cold imbue. It's just everything is cold imbued, you know? It's great stuff. And then against the boss, you know, you can do way more damage if you wanted to, once you build up that crowd control. But now, like, you can get so much damage with Lucian, like a good build. We'll probably just melt it. I don't think we really need to do another one here. I just wanted to kind of compare the main ones that people were probably interested in playing. But if you wanted to throw in Cold Imbue, I don't think it's a bad option. But that's where it stands as far as HeartSeeker and Victimize in Season 5. Which builds you guys personally like the most, maybe if you've played or via seeing. But I think Close Quarters is really good. And the reason why this one is probably going to be the thing that most people will take, even over Precision, is because you're already going to be using this in every single Paragon board. Tricks of the Trade and the Deadly Ambush, like, these are a must. So for Season 5, the new Rogue meta will probably be Umbacrux in every single one. Whether you want to play Shard of Varatha or not, that's up to you. But there's another build that I want to talk about with Twisting Blades. It's probably going to get patched, but there's a thing that you can do with one of the things where it's like scaling your damage. There's one thing that you can scale your damage to crazy amounts after you daze. Where is it? Is it Trick Attacks? Yeah, it's this one. So we're going to be doing something pretty cool because, well, with Twisting Blades, there's a thing where you get 100% daze for 1.5 seconds. And if you just keep on doing that again, you can get this up to hundreds. It's pretty busted, but we'll upload another video on that one very soon. But anyways, that's where HeartSeeker is in Season 5. So the answer is yes, it's still playable. If you want to run Victimize, that's an option. But I think Close Quarters, I can tell you, it's a lot smoother. But if you want an even smoother playstyle, I mean, all you have to do is run Shadow Step. But if you really don't want to, well, Momentum gives you up to 30 DR, 30% damage reduction, which is great. And the extra energy and movement speed that it's giving you and energy regen can really help out, because this build, I am running an Uber Unique. If you don't happen to have Uber Uniques, well, I mean, you don't really need a Chaco for the build anymore, which used to be really good, but this is like best in slot for every single build going forward. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the Rapid Fire Rogue, or HeartSeeker Rogue with Victimize, as well as the other options that you can play if you do want to play it. And I'll be uploading a lot more very soon. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on your favorite variant.